Hey everyone, um, great to be here. I guess I'm doing the closing speech of the conference. Thanks, Pyth, for organizing an amazing event. So the last but not least, let's talk about DeFi security real quick. But first, I'll present myself. So I'm Vitali, CEO at Composability Labs. We're building Spark, Spark Finance, Spark Fi. That's a fully on-chain order book built on Fuel Network. I was working at Solana ecosystem before building on Fuel. I was a team member at Neon EVM. Also, I was doing growth at Mango Markets. Before, I was running the blockchain unit at Raiffeisen Bank, worked with Hyperledger, different EVM solutions. For that, I was doing the experiments with Plasma. Before crypto, I was working in traditional finance and corporate investment banking. So what is Spark, the product that we're building? It's a fully on-chain central limit order book inspired by what Serum does on Solana, what Serum did on Solana and OpenBook does right now. On top of this, again, fully on-chain order book, we've built a perpetual swap DEX. We're launching it next week. Stay tuned, follow our Twitter and Discord. You'll see a lot of announcements there. We're also using predicate-based spot trade execution. What predicates are, I'll tell you in a second. So predicates, what do we call it? This is how actual native account abstraction is implemented on Fuel Network. Predicates are stateless transactions. And this is the mechanism that allows someone to take ownership over an account by the nature of the transaction input. Put funds behind the predicate, you first need to figure out what the address is for the predicate. This is done by generating a hash on the predicate Pyth code. This is a research, this is a screenshot from research by Blockchain Capital that was one of the major investors in Fuel Network, and they tell that predicate-based order book is a really good idea because it kind of improves both the off-chain order execution architecture utilized by OpenSea, Seaport, and DYDX, and definitely it's way better than any AMM engine running on the EVM chains, across the EVM chains, I would say. Because AMM dominates the EVM architecture. Again, we have fully on-chain matching mechanism right now, and apparently on-chain order books are also regulation resistant, which I think is pretty important. This is how it looks, like almost any other DEX interface, but underneath, of course, it's packed with the innovations. Apparently, Fuel Network is the only environment in the entire Ethereum ecosystem where you can build this kind of product based on a fast, I would say, a fast on-chain order book. But of course, it's very Ethereum aligned at the same time. The math in the contracts is very, very much inspired by the Ethereum-based protocols. The goal, the vision that we're implementing is we want to build a Binance or DYDX, but fully on-chain. Hats off to CZ and Brian for building this space and bringing a lot of users to Web3 and a lot of liquidity as well. But it's time to put this whole thing on-chain, which is what we're implementing. Now let's talk security. So when we think about the security in DeFi, we normally consider three things. That's technical security, legal, which gains popularity, especially recently, I would say, and financial. But when I think about security, I want to avoid getting to Rec News website. That's the last thing you would want. And that's quite crazy because if you go there and you see the leaderboard, you will see that tens of billions have been drained from DeFi protocols. And of course, nobody likes it except the hackers, I guess. Lazarus DAO research. Well, I would want to avoid it by any means and not attract any attention from Rec News. And I don't want to get to any legal disputes on Twitter as well. So I think the way I wanted to make this presentation is I want to highlight several cases of the exploits over the last 12 months and see how we can avoid, how we can prevent these issues in the future. And I'll start with Mango. I think worth saying that I was doing growth at Mango exactly at the time of exploit, and we were preparing a campaign which ended up in a very, very different marketing, I would say. So on October 13th last year, 2022, Avi purchased, it's a price manipulation attack. So he manipulated the Mango price token and was able to pass through with the offer on the governance forum of Mango, which, well, could cause the drain of 65 million, which was like almost half of the treasury that Mango had at that time. How we could prevent this potential solution would be a double Oracle risk engine, which, by the way, we're using in Spark. But if you use like a reliable price feed provider like Pyth, for example, this case could be avoided. I'm quite surprised actually how again Avi became like a superstar on media and how open he was, because all the contacts of like were online pretty much. If you Google the name, you could find an address and phone number, and all the journalists were able to reach out, and he was telling everyone, yeah, I did exactly like this. I think he's in jail right now, but they definitely had a sue with Mango. Also, I think worth saying that again, Avi, because he was able to his proposal in the governance forum passed because he had, of course, enormous amount of governance tokens of Mango, which is, well, a Mango token. This could be avoided by a better governance. And here is where UTXO data model comes in, which again is like in the basis of Fuel network, which we build on. And I think one of the again, it's predicate based. UTXOs are, predicates are UTXO based. And one other implementation of the predicates that I would highlight here is building a better multi-sig. Like multi-sig with predicates is how Alex, my colleague, says it's similar to Horcruxes of in the Harry Potter books and movies. Basically, you can burn the predicate to access the funds, to access the vault or access the transaction. It's on Ethereum, it's super expensive, and on Fuel, it's quite cheap and efficient as well. Also, like in Spark, we're having a risk engine which utilizes a double Oracle system, like I just mentioned. And our risk engine is based on the 2-year historical data per each asset. Thanks Fibonacci Finance for providing this to us. We're very happy. And using this dynamic, data set, we can identify the best mark price and the liquidation price to provide better user experience to the users and avoid like massive liquidations. And again, because we use 2 oracles there, the asset price that we're updating on the platform all the time is providing an extra security layer. Now, the next case would definitely be Kyber. I think Kyber is one of the biggest attacks I've seen because, well, Kyber are OGs, and their code should have been almost perfect, and still the hackers were able to exploit it through what's called reentrancy attack. Reentrancy is, I would say, a very frequent issue that you can like stumble upon in DeFi, in crypto in general. So what happened? Attackers borrowed via flash loan and drained the pools with low liquidity. By executing swaps and altering the positions, they manipulated the current prices and tricked the victimized pool. The potential solution of this, the way I see it, and I think many security auditors would agree, reentrancy can be prevented by smart economic and smart contract audits. Also, that's my remark, updating the code and rebuilding the product on the network that might be better than the initial environment where your product has been running might be a really good idea, because this space moves very fast and updates, and the execution environment is being updated also quite a lot, quite often. So rebuilding it in an environment that might be more efficient for your business is a really good idea. Again, I was very impressed how the hacker wrote a message on Etherscan that, listen, I'm tired, I'll take a rest and then we can talk. Talking about rebuilding the products in different execution environments, DYDX is definitely pioneering this stage. And they first were based on the AMM, then they have rebuilt everything. It's a bold move, in my opinion, especially in the early days of the Ethereum scaling. Rebuilding everything into Cairo VM was quite cool, in my opinion. And now they've built their own smart chain on Tendermint plus Cosmos SDK stack. But again, as you can see, like DYDX are super OGs, and it's a pretty it's a colossal company. Still, they recently, just a couple of weeks ago, lost 9 million on another price manipulation attack with YFI token. Again, the hackers, but this thing only works with low liquidity. Another thing I would say, which is very important to protect your DeFi protocol, is to allow your business run on both low liquidity and high liquidity, like in both bull market and bear market. That's, I would say, the protocols that do it, that are able to run in both conditions, are rather exceptions in this space. And DYDX became also a victim of the price manipulation. Again, potential solution would be to fetch the asset prices from the trusted oracle like Pyth, and use reliable infrastructure providers in general. Because the networks rely on latency, indexing the networks, and updating TWAPs frequently. You need to test it. You need to test the benchmarks on how fresh your data should be. But having reliable third-party providers can definitely prevent all of this. And we can go on and on, but I think like what Wrecked News says, we're all wrecked. Thanks everyone, stay safe and Merry Christmas.